Alright, so, hello, welcome to my video. I decided, well, I didn't decide, it was kind of decided for me, but, so this is my first chance that I get to record this thing, so it's gonna be like a Monday type deal as well as my Q&A video, so let's do this thing. Okay, so, we'll try to do these a little bit rapid fire because I don't have much time to record, so we'll see how fast we can do this. Okay, so, first question is from Distrust, which asked my top 3 favorite movies and why. And honestly, this question was like pretty much the hardest one I've gotten because I so struggle with picking my favorite movies because it's like I don't like how do. Okay, so what I decided was Prince of Egypt because I love the music. Like I was the kid that had all the Hebrew memorized just from listening to the song so many times, like from There Can Be Miracles. That song, I had all the Hebrew memorized, and that was awesome. Just from listening to it so many times, and the visuals are just so gorgeous. Like my background for my computer desktop right now is the parting of the Red Seas, like concept art, and it's just gorgeous. So Prince of Egypt is definitely my first one. Second one, I'm gonna go with Lion King. Because again, the music is gorgeous, and shout out to the musical for being amazing as well. Like it's like eye candy. It's just watching this is it's such a beautiful thing, and Nala was like a role model for my life. Like when I was little, we would play games where like my friend would be Simba and I would be Nala. So Nala is fantastic, and I don't know what my third favorite movie is. Like I don't know. Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. We'll go with that one. Again, music. Music, if you've got good music in a movie, it's gonna pretty much win my heart. But Belle is the boss. She's pretty much my favorite Disney princess. So, yeah, we'll go with that. Those are my 3 top movies. Alright, Muriel Odell. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. Muriel? Pronunciation guide. So she asked, do you have anything you wish to specialize in medicine eventually? I mean, okay, so when I started medical school, I thought that I would maybe just do family practice, which is basically taking care of everybody and everything. And if stuff gets too complicated, then you strip them off to a specialist. And I liked that idea because you would get to do a bunch of different things. Like you wouldn't be stuck doing the same thing every day like you would have when you specialize. And you would get to care for the entire family. So you get to care for the grandchildren and the grandparents, the parents in the middle, and then you do it for many, many years. And just like I really like the idea of having that relationship with the patient. But I'm still trying to keep myself open because I've only really learned about this stuff in the classroom and I haven't actually done any of it in real life. So I'm waiting to see what it's like in the clinics with these different specialties to see if one calls out to me or not. So I have no idea what I'm going to do at the moment, so we'll see. A Study in Holmes asked, if you were a giraffe, what would you do? If I was a giraffe, I would figure out a better way to drink stuff. Because, like, have you seen giraffes? When they try to drink stuff, they have to, like, spread out really awkwardly wide and, like, dip their heads down super low, and they just look ridiculous. So, I don't know, develop a straw for giraffes so they didn't have to do that. So that's what I would do if I was a giraffe. Her Lady Dauntless asked, what drew you to your muse? I've talked about this a little bit before. And it was a really weird way that I was drawn to the muse. Normally I'm like really interested in the character and I'm like, oh, there's there's things in this character that I like to explore. For this muse, I was reading Terry Pratchett's book Dodger, and I was really intrigued by the way that the narration worked in that book. There were some issues with the plot that I was kind of like, whatever. But the way that he wrote the book was in such a way that even though it was in third person, it still felt like Dodger himself was talking to you, and so it was a very like colorful way of writing the narration in a way that made it almost like the narration more interesting than just Dodger talking himself. and I thought that was really cool. I was like, for some reason, this idea never dawned on me to like put in some like personality into the narration, and so I thought that was really cool. And I was like, hey, that sounds like a lot of fun. I bet I would have fun doing that. And yeah, so that's basically what drew me to my muse, was this really unique way of doing narration. A tough little guy actually asked me 2 questions. So first question is, how do you feel about essentially being the only Dodger and the Supreme on Tumblr? I mean, I don't know about the Supreme. It's weird being the only Dodger because it's a teeny tiny little fandom. I think there's pretty much me and like a couple other people here and there. And I know there's a ton of other people who are their own fandom as well, so shout out to y'all. Not to mention all the OCs. So I know like randomly I get little like, meh, what if somebody else comes? Will the people still love me? But I just also feel like I'm kind of doing my own thing well enough that there wouldn't be able to be a copy, if that sounds super pretentious to anybody. So I don't know, I'm having way too much fun, I guess, to worry too much about it. So and then they also wanted to know if I had any advice for new college students, and this is really important, so listen up. I had a different college experience where I went to a small Christian college. So there were different aspects to it, but some important things that you want to be aware of. Get involved in your floor. I know my floor, or my college, it was being the floor that you lived on for like your freshman year especially, was really, it could be a really tight group, and you would do a lot of things together. And so if that's like your cup of tea, get involved in your floor, because you're all in the same situation, almost literally. And so that's a good place to start. And that was, for me, it was like a nice comfort zone to come back to, like going out and doing all the extroverted stuff during the day, like going to class and whatever. I'd come back and you'd be in your floor, and that was your safe place. If it's not your cup of tea, if you don't bond with your roommate, that's fine. Like, people still have amazing college experiences. I would recommend getting involved with something. Even if it's not your floor, it could be a club, it could be a sport. Find some place where you get along with people. So find that spot, because you want to be able to have a group of friends that you can come back to and center yourself with. Make sure you don't get over involved though, because I know that at least that was a big problem with my college, was that people would overcommit and be running around being crazy people, which is not what you want to do with your college experience, because then you'll run yourself into the ground. So don't overcommit. Find like 1 or 2 clubs that you can really invest in and be nourished by, just to like have a place to go to, because being alone, because I know going to the dining hall by yourself is one of the worst feelings. So don't be afraid to attach yourself into groups. I know that's super hard. Especially like for me, I was always like, maybe they want me here, but whatever. You're not like, you're gonna be with people, and even though that is something that's extroverted, being with people and putting yourself out there, I know for me it's a better feeling than sitting by yourself in your dining hall. So make sure you have a group to go with, someone to get food, and make sure you eat food. Don't skip meals. Get to know your professors, especially if you're at a big school. Pretty much any school, you want to make sure you get to know your professors, but especially if you're at a big school, because you want to have that relationship, getting a face attached to a name, and just getting to know them. They're pretty much always really cool people. You wouldn't be teaching students for a living, like, if you didn't care about them, so get to know them. They're often pretty cool people. I know a lot of colleges have like dining with the prof programs, where you like get a special meal ticket and they get the free lunch, and most professors love that, so take advantage of that. Or my college also had perk with a prof, so you could get them coffee. So take advantage of those kind of things. That's all I've got for now. So, and Anon asked me, did you get pre-wedding jitters, and how did you meet your spouse? Haha, how did I meet my spouse? Okay, so we had this joke that we would make up a story every time when people ask us how we met because we don't remember. He remembers meeting me fresh college, and I remember meeting him sophomore year of college. So we don't really know when we met each other. So I don't, we met in college is what we end up telling people now, is that we met, it's where we met. Because we came from 2 different states. Did I get pre-wedding jitters? I mean, it was all like a super surreal day because we got up early to go do hair and makeup and stuff, and it was like a girl party because it was all of like the female side of things. So it was like all my side of the wedding, of the bridal party, and then both moms, cousins and aunts, grandmother. So it was like girl party, and then we had downtime for like 2 hours before I was supposed to do anything, and so I ended up like watching something on Netflix, and it was just like I couldn't believe it was happening. And then the wedding finally happened, and it was just like so surreal. Like I don't even know. I mean, I'm still like, there's still days where I'll look at my husband and be like, we're married. And there's still that excitement because it's just like, it's still such a surreal experience. I'm still loving it. Like, I would do it, if I had to do it again, I would do it the exact same way. I would marry the exact same person. Like, so I didn't really get pre-wedding jitters. It's just this kind of surreal experience I'm still kind of easing myself into. Marching Through the TARDIS asked, does Dodger ever comment on things in your daily life? Considering most of my daily life is medicine and like medical schooly stuff, which is like woo, way over Dodger's head, not really. Yeah, he normally stays pretty quiet when I'm looking at medical school stuff, other than just kind of like tugging on my shoulder like, why aren't you paying attention to me? You're supposed to be paying attention to me, I'm important. So he's distracting in that sense, but he's not really commenting. Yeah, no, he doesn't really do that sort of thing. Another Anon asked, do you ever look at stuff and think of other muses? Ha! Ha, yes. Normally it's, muses I've had in the past, and I'll look at them and be like, what are you doing here? No. But, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, because someone asked me, another Anon asked me a thing, about other muses, but definitely it's like, it's not very subtle. It's normally like artwork of the other muse where I'm like, hello, what are you doing there? And sometimes it's music, but normally it's just straight up artwork where I'm like, well, there he is. Yup, that's a thing. So yeah, that's that. The Promise of Redemption asked me a whole slew of questions, so buckle up. Here we go. They say that most of the questions are pretty random, apparently, but alrighty. Who would you consider the 3 closest relationships you developed with Dodger? Okay, okay, this bothers me too, because it's like, so many relationships are so important to him, and it's hard to pick 3, and it's hard to pick 3 of, like, the entirety that I've done this, which is, like, a year, because some, and like, if I'm investing in that relationship, if I'm like actively writing it, then that's important to me. Or if it's just like, oh, it's on the back burner, like, it just, I don't know. So this is like a snapshot, I guess, of his 3 most important relationships at the moment. We'll go with Trickster Captain, who was Jack Sparrow, which is a fantastic relationship. They give each other so much shit. It's so great. And Dodger respects, there's a clock. Dodger respects Jack Sparrow so greatly. It's amazing. So basically Dodger's like Jack Sparrow's cabin boy, trying to keep Jack Sparrow out of trouble type person, and it's great. I love them a lot. They're very important to each other. Also, I should probably know that, like, pretty much none of these are ships. They're like actually like father son, mentor mentee type relationships. So I am weak for those. I'm a wuss in that way. Second relationship is Yuma Upside Down. Jareth, the Goblin King. I know I always read it weird in my head because that's how it I have to write it out. But so yeah, that was a super duper relationship. We need to meta about this though at some point, because we realized as we were doing the joint promo that Jareth becomes Dodger's runner, which is super exciting because Dodger didn't have a runner because no one wanted to come for him, and then Jareth comes for him. It's all very emotional. So we were both freaking out at each other, like screaming in all caps at like 11 o'clock at night. So we're gonna meta about that more, but I'm like tearing up right now. So that's a super important relationship. And the third one, oh my gosh, there's so many. Because there's like Hard Knocked with Annie, because they're so cute together, and they're like bro TP but also OTP, and then there's Bill Gravy and Bitch, because Lola and Dodger are like the hot ship. Like, whoa, those two. I'm like, I don't normally write smut or anything like that, but like, yeah, they get it on. Who else? Riotous Beauty, because she's lady manager, and Dodger is like, Dodger would go like 100 miles for that woman. And then there's March with its hardest, because the nutter, Dodger's nutter, is so important. And then there's Poet's Grimoire, who is the scribbler. So you got like 5. So they're all so important. I can't pick. Do you enjoy playing board games? Depends on the board game. That was a great voice, by the way. Depends on the board game. I don't. Yes, I guess. I don't normally sit down and play board games. I haven't in a really long time. My family used to do more card games, I guess. Like, we would play, is it Pig? Or we would play, like, spoons with cards where you grab the spoon if you have all 4 and then everyone else has to fight over it. So my family would play those sort of games, but not really board games. And I do like them. I just haven't played them in a while, really. Do I enjoy puns? Haha, yes. Puns are great. I wish I could involve them more in my daily life. But yes, puns are awesome. Dodger tries to use puns sometimes because he enjoys the clever word speech. Or at least twisting things around. So I do try to. Puns are important. Who's my favorite author of all time? Probably C.S. Lewis? That man. Yes. Probably C.S. Lewis. I don't. Because he's awesome. Just, yes. Probably C.S. Lewis. Have you any pets? The answer is yes and no. Husband is allergic to pets, which is really upsetting for me, because I've had pets almost my entire life. So we don't have any pets, like, currently living together at medical school. However, my parents have pets that I got to see, like, 2 last weekend. Well, 2 weekends ago now. So my cat, Lily, who's my baby, and she's my sweetheart, and Penny, who is the dog, and she's a golden retriever. She's not that smart, but she loves you a lot, so that's good. If you could wear one color of clothing for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Blue. Blue. What's your favorite style of shoe to wear, or are you a barefoot kind of gal? I like tennis shoes because they're comfy, and they pretty much can do anything other than, like, dress up, which is okay because dress up shoes hurt. So, tennis shoes. Anon asks, what's a country you'd like to visit? Oh, for Muse and Mun. Dodger is really happy in London, in England. He's the king of London, so he doesn't see much reason to go anywhere else. But, I think, as he grows up, though, he begins to understand that there's more to the world. He just probably would just like to travel everywhere. Just absorbing. He would be, like, one of the, like, awesome travelers that gets super immersed in the local culture. He's the kind of guy that finds, like, the little hole-in-the-wall shop and just, like, meets the locals, tries local cuisine. He is not afraid to get lost in a city, because he doesn't really get lost in cities very well, so that doesn't really even matter. I I could see him being really interested in the Mediterranean area. I could see him being really interested in like China, Hong Kong, Japan. I think he would have a lot of fun in Australia. He would have a lot of fun in South Africa, South Africa, and South America, like just everywhere. Me, where would I want to go? I do want to take my husband to Israel, Greece, and Italy, because that's what I've been on that trip already, and I loved it, and I want him to experience it as well. But I've already been there. I would like to see more of Europe. I've seen England and France, and then Italy and Greece. So I'd like to see more of Central Europe, like Germany, Austria, just a lot of those, Poland maybe, even just a lot of those countries in there. That'd be cool. Yeah. My favorite, what has your favorite thread to write been? Anon. Another Anon asked this question. So many. Pretty much all the threads I listed with the folks earlier have really been favorites. And I have tried to show, I've actually showed my husband a couple of threads that have been mostly completed, just so, because he wanted to see them. So that was fun. And I don't even remember which threads I showed him. Bogisms. A lot of those threads with bogisms are a lot of fun. Those are really cool, actually. So, yeah, and it's mostly, and I feel like it's mostly because they're an amazing writer and they do their genre so incredibly well, the horror genre. Yes. So that's definitely one, bogisms. And then all the other people that I mentioned before. Yeah. Oh, and Defiant Charms. Yes. Those bogisms and Defiant Charms. Defiant Charms was, well, and pretty much every other thread with Emmy that I've done across different blogs. But yeah, those guys. Defiant Charms was Lily Evans' blog, and she became Dodger's mom basically, which was fantastic. Parent-child relationships, I just love them so much. So yeah, those were just heartwarming and wonderful and just hugging goodness, and it was great. So those are some good threads. Any other characters you want to play? Another Anon asked that. Yes. And it's really hard because Dodger is so pushy. I've never had a muse who has refused to let anybody else in. Like, there was a time when I was on Twitter. I did Twitter roleplay for at least like 4 years. Like, all of my college career was on Twitter roleplay. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 blogs, 5-ish. Not necessarily all going, not blogs, Twitter accounts. Not all necessarily all going at the same time, but going roughly together. And they were all fine. They played well together. What was this? Dodger is like, I have tried to either maintain blogs since starting Dodger or start new blogs since starting Dodger, and he does not play well with others. I don't know what's going on with this, but he is very demanding of my attention. And it's like, I'll be like merrily typing along, answering somebody else's roleplay, and it's like, what? There he comes, and I was like, whoa, okay, just kidding. I guess I'm gonna go do Dodger's replies. There's that, but the answer is still yes to that question. Are there any other characters I want to roleplay? Because I'm slowly working on a Dick Grayson blog. Like, I'm trying to read a lot of the comics and make icons for myself and pull together the resources for that blog. I probably won't be getting to it until like July, August, just based on how travel and writing and just my busyness schedule is going to work out. But I am maybe doing that, and also just trying to get Dodger used to the idea of having somebody else in my head, which makes me sound crazy. But yeah, so there's that. Slowly working on that. Maybe it won't ever come to be, but I'm working on it, so I don't know, I guess we'll see. Oh, and then my last question is, you mod Side Down, upside down. I think that is supposed to be a P. I think I just typed it wrong. That's alright. Asked, what do your friends / family think about your writing? Well, my family, like, excluding my husband, doesn't really know about my writing. Well, my sister does. My youngest sister. We are writing buddies, and we would basically stay up late talking about writing together. And she's going to be an author. She's trying to be an author, and she's finished her first novel! So I'm going to be reading that, as I travel and do stuff. So she knows, and we talk a little bit about that, just to keep in touch with each other. And so I think she thinks it's cool. I mean, she wants to do, like, serious writing, so I don't know how she thinks roleplay fits in, but she also knows that, like, this is my outlet. Like, this is what I do to exercise my like, artsy part of the brain when I'm also doing science all day. So I think she understands that. And my husband knows, too, and like I mentioned, I've shown him some of the threads. I've talked to him occasionally about different people that I write with, different characters that I write with. He thinks it's alright. He understands that I need this outlet for myself. And I've actually offered to have him, roleplay something, but he just doesn't get the same, like, it doesn't, like, energize him in the way that it does me. So, and that's alright. Also, where do I draw inspiration? Dodger's been going pretty strong by himself. Just in general. So I've never really had an extended amount of time, where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to write. Yeah, Dodger's not responding, so oh well. There's a really loud car outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it. But, in general, I guess I draw inspiration from, artwork. The original sources. Like, if I'm ever stuck, I'll go and read over either, like, quotes from the original Oliver Twist, or, stuff from, Dodger, the book, by Terry Pratchett. I'll, like, look over those and be like, okay, yeah, this is, like, what he would sound like, and that gets me back in the flow. The musical, like, if I'm ever stuck in just, like, I'm stuck in a rut, and I know it's because I'm, like, distracted up here, like, in my ears. I can't focus because like, the sound is distracting me. I'll pull up the musical soundtrack and I'll listen to that. And that always gets me in the flow of how to write. So listening to the Oliver musical. Music in general, I just kind of like having some kind of background noise, and having music that I'm somewhat familiar with, but not, like, I can sing along with 100% is what is good for me. And sometimes random song lyrics, I'll get inspiration from that. Sometimes reading up just, like, the history of, the time period is inspiring. At least inspiring for different thread ideas. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Dodger can only pick so many pockets. So, yeah, I guess that's where I draw inspiration from. Yeah. I think that was all my questions. So, woo, I did it! Thank you so much for sending in questions. If you ever have any more questions, feel free to ask me. I'm always free to talk, and you guys are wonderful, and, like, I am just floored that I've been here for a year, and there are so many of you following me. It's just completely overwhelming. You guys are all so wonderful. Thank you so much. And, yeah, I guess that's it for now. See ya. Bye.